Hello, everyone. Welcome back to episode 8, almost there, of season 4 of the Keisha Tower Show. I don't feel bad. I feel like I sound worse than I feel. This weather, your daily weather report. Today is Friday, March 21st. Spring is here. We made it. Yay. It's fucking cold and it's annoying, and I feel like last time I recorded an episode it was warm and nice, and now it's cold, and all that to say, I've got some allergies happening today for sure, so just bear with me. So today I'm going to talk about I went back to therapy, and I just think it's important to talk about the continuation of therapy and taking breaks and what that looks like and why I stopped and stuff like that. Coffee first. So on the last episode, I just talked about feeling off, not mentally unwell, but just feeling off in general. And therapy had been in the back of my mind for a couple of weeks at that point. I don't know, I just always feel like it's a good reset. And just to be very clear, I haven't been since January of 2024, and I'll get into that as well. I spent my longest stint in therapy. I did the talk therapy very continuously for, I might not get my years right, but 4 years is how I started. And then I switched over to EMDR, and I did the EMDR therapy pretty religiously for, I want to say a year and a half, 2 years, something like that. At points I was going weekly, and then every other week. It was very intense healing therapy. And I'll never forget I got to a point a couple of years ago, and she was I think we're ready to based on the issues that you currently have, you're dealing, you're coping, and based on everything you're telling me, we can phase out. And I remember being so nervous for that, because I just felt that was a constant that made sense in my life and was clearly helpful. I grew light years emotionally during that time, and I'm forever grateful for that, because it's just opened up a whole new world for me. But then I was kind of on and off. I stopped, and then going back to the divorce, I started again, and then I stopped again. And I straight up ghosted her the last time, and knowingly not accidentally, very purposely ghosted her, because again, this was last January, so it's been 14-ish months since I've been. She was telling me things that I was not ready to do or ready to hear at that time. And it wasn't that I thought I knew better. I just wanted to continue to live my life how I was living my life in that moment. And I just stopped going. And we kind of laughed about it this last time, when I was there yesterday. And she was well, you no-showed. You paid me the money for no-showing, but also well, let's talk about it. And for me, my therapist, again, I think it's depending on where you're at in your personality and like what you want and like what you um, like your therapist makes like a huge difference, right? With my first therapist, I was very much outgrowing her. I wanted like more from her, and I just wanted like more like intense healing. Like I was just ready, and I felt like I was kind of at a standstill. And then when I got to my current therapist, Selena, I mean, she is very obviously, as a therapist, you have to be compassionate, you have to be empathetic. It's kind of what your job is. But at the same time, she's also very much like, listen, bitch, get your fucking shit together. Not in those words, but like that's like how she delivers the message, so to speak. And me being someone who like thrives on this is going to be really gross if you're watching on YouTube, but I have to like wipe my nose because I'm just like unwell right now. Me being someone who like thrives on very direct communication, very much like you need to be doing this, you're like doing the wrong thing type of thing. And it's just I don't know, I very much feel very connected to her in that sense. She's just like a no bullshit type of approach, which is what I need. Do I think she's like that with everybody? Absolutely not, because I don't think everybody can handle that type of communication. I think she's like that with me because she's gotten to know me. She knows that's how I like, she knows that's what I like. She knows that I can like take it and like do something with it. She has recognized that I'm very much like a processor after the fact. So like whenever we have our therapy sessions, I'll process and think, and then like either journal, or I'll like kind of I have like a couple friends in particular that I'll like bounce it off of. But I just very much appreciate like her no bullshit approach. So and we laughed about it. We laughed about me like ghosting her. Because is that someone who I am? Like, no. I mean, no. But also, like, maybe it is a little bit, like, if I take a step back, because also, like, if I'll cut you off. Like, if you are doing things that don't align with me, and in that moment, right, like, she was not aligning with me. Even though she had my best interest at heart, obviously. She was telling me things that I did not want to hear. And I was not willing to put in the work based on what she was telling me. And I think that's like such an important factor if you are paying for therapy, right? Like, therapy is scary. Therapy is hard. Therapy forces you to take a look at your world around you, take a look at your reality, see what's working, see what's not working. And then, right, like, I talk about it often, but then, like, right, you have a choice. You have a choice to either, like, stay complacent or, like, make changes. And no one's life is perfect. Everyone can always use, like, some upgrades, I'll say, like, in some point. But it's hard, like, right? It's not fucking easy. It's not easy. And I was in that moment, like, living life the way that I very much felt like I wanted to like live my life, and it was not aligning with what she was telling me. And that's why I was just like over it. And to also say, like, why am I going to go to therapy and either not tell the truth, and that's not who I am. Like, I'm a very truthful and honest person, and my therapist knows everything, like everything. Because if you're not, like, right, you're paying for the service, and if you're not being truthful about it, or like you're actually wanting to like make change, and you're like omitting pieces, or like lying about things, or just telling like half truths, then like what's the point of you even going to therapy? Are you even like paying for a service? And I very much found myself wanting to omit pieces of my life at that time to her. And this is very like objective, but I think like omitting like entire pieces of your life, that's like worse than lying, in my opinion. And I just found myself in that space, and I was just like, okay, like, not gonna do this, like, for the time being. I'm not going to like pay for a service, like, for what, when I know like deep inside me that I'm like not going to do what she's gonna say, even though it was the right, like, what she was saying was 100% the truth, and what she was saying was absolutely everything I needed to do. But I was like, in that phase in my life, I was not prepared to do what she was telling me. And so we just kind of like talked about it, and I was just like, listen, I was not in a position to hear what you had to say. I was going through a lot, and like she was empathetic and understood, and she was like, girl, if you think you're special, like if you think you're the first person that ghosted me, which I didn't, like I can't even imagine how many times that happens to therapists. She was like, you're not special. You are not the first person to do this, and nor will you be the last. And she was like, I knew based on where you were in your life that like this was probably going to happen. I could like see the signs, and I'm just like, cool, love that for you, that you're so good at your job. I don't know, so we kind of like dove into those things. I mean, I had 14 months of kind of like life to catch her up on, since I hadn't been for so long. And I definitely like walked in feeling like pretty sad, pretty depressed, honestly. I feel like that's been the overarching feeling, which the main times I've had depression in my life, it has been in direct correlation with being postpartum, like newly postpartum, like within the first year. That has not been an emotion that kind of like consumes me, just in like day-to-day life and stuff like that. So I knew, just like based on like my actions and the way I was feeling and stuff, like I was just like, okay, like I was like ready. I was ready to like do the work and to like get unstuck and to like and again, just to like be very clear, like we're not talking like I am not, and I was not in like super deep dark depression at all. It was just something that I could feel, that was starting to like grow, and I was starting to stay stuck in, and it was not going away. And I was like, I'm ready to deal with this emotion now. For the simple fact of like not wanting to stay stuck in it at all. So, you know, we like talked about everything. You know, I mean, she didn't know about the job loss, and she didn't know, I mean, about the relationship, and she didn't know where like my ex-husband and I stood. I mean, she didn't really like know anything. And I just filled her in on like everything, and as I'm like telling her kind of everything that's been going on, I can like feel myself kind of like start to like light up again. And I can like feel my body language kind of shift from like, you know, closed off and inward to like being more confident and like, you know, shoulders away from my ears and chest up and out. And I was like, damn, like all that felt like really like good to like talk about with someone who like knows, you know, the story and the background and stuff like that. And I mean, even though I was like looking at her and watching her, like when I kind of got done hashing everything out, she was like smiling from like ear to ear, and she was just like, look at you, like look at you and like what you're doing and how far you've come. And I'm gonna be very honest, I felt like I needed that validation. I feel like I'm very big on like not seeking like outside validation at all. But that was definitely a moment where I felt like I needed to see myself through someone else's eyes. And I'm not ashamed to say that at all, because I feel like I do that often. Like I've talked, like I feel like I see so much in people, and I always say that, you know, I feel like I see what people can do, and I see the potential in people, and I see that people can like do all of these things that they don't even ever believe that they can do for themselves. And I try to like help harness that in people. I mean, you know, specifically in relation to the gym, you know, and it's whether that be physically, mentally, emotionally, like we're there. And I feel like I kind of needed that for myself. I kind of needed like a little cheerleader for sure. And not that I don't have cheerleaders in my life, because clearly I do. But again, I think just coming from my therapist, who knows like everything, like the deepest, darkest. I mean, she's seen me at my most broken on, God, 20 plus occasions at this point. Like, and then to like tell her like the shit that I've been through in the last like 14 months, specifically in the past like 6 to 7 months. And then for me to kind of still like fucking be here and to like not have like lost hope. And of course, you kind of go through stages, right? You always go through stages of just like, can't be happy all the time, and I would think something's wrong with you if you're happy all the time. And I think there are times where things like feel more overwhelming than others, and there are times in your life where things just like hit a little bit harder than others. And I think all of that's normal. I think I was in a place, I am like, it's not past tense, I am in a place of just like, everything is going mostly great for me right now in these moments. And while I want to acknowledge like the off, sad, like depressive feelings that I've kind of been like feeling, I don't I genuinely like don't want to stay in them. And I think that in itself is just kind of like a step in the right direction, right? Just like acknowledging the feelings, acknowledging that you have them, and also not trying to like rush them. I am a rusher of feelings, especially uncomfortable ones. And I have clearly made loads of progress in that area. But when things start to feel uncomfortable, I've talked about like sitting with uncomfortable feelings, sitting in that unknown, sitting in that uncertainty, I very much tend to not want to have those feelings any longer than necessary. And sometimes, especially big events, those feelings don't just go away. And I'm proud of myself for like handling in a very positive way, in a sense of anytime I have these big feelings, I'm not numbing, right? I'm not going out and drinking myself drunk. I'm not, smoking it away or sexing it away, or I am setting all the fucking way in the feelings and feeling them and letting them move through me and journaling about them, and also not wanting to fucking stay stuck in them. And shit sucks. It's not fun. It's not fun at all. In my therapy session, we kind of identified a couple of things for me to do to like help get out of it. And while some of them may seem like super obvious, sometimes you just need to hear things out loud, right? Like sometimes we know what we need to do, and sometimes you know the right answer, but sometimes you just need someone to like say them out loud to you. And I think that's just in a sense of like hearing it like mirrored back to you. Sometimes it just hits different. Like I can't explain that. So that was like one of the main reasons for me to kind of like start back therapy again. And I just think that therapy will always be a part of my life. And I don't think that's a bad thing at all. I dealt with like a lot of hard shit like by myself because I had like the coping mechanisms in place to be able to like do that. I had the right coping skills, the healthy coping skills, to be able to like move through some like hard problems. Because as I look back, before I would have been like, oh my god, like I lost my job, I need to get into therapy immediately. Or, oh my god, I had like a not so great breakup, I need to get into therapy immediately. But because I had like good coping skills and like mechanisms, and like I was able to sit with those uncomfortable feelings and not use something else to feel the void in my life at that time, I was like able to move through that. And while there are still some like lingering emotions from some like bigger events, it's just like I'm ready to like nip it in the butt and like be done, in a sense of like not trying to rush the emotions, but also just like, am I missing something? Or like, am I holding on to something? Or what healthy, what unhealthy like thoughts am I hanging on to that are like maybe causing me to be a little bit more sad than normal. And it's just always so refreshing because she's just like, okay, Keisha, like, let's take a step back and let me just like reiterate to you like what's happened in your life over the past like, 6 months, 7 months. Like, right, lost your job, had a breakup, really been alone for a long time. Running 2 businesses, like, I have the kids 80 to 90% of the time. Your anxiety's at bay. You are coping in all the correct ways. So, am I surprised that you're not feeling like super happy? Like, of course not. Like, I'm not surprised, but also like, you're not doing dumb shit, right? Like, you're not avoiding problems, and you're not drinking yourself to death, and you're not, while your progress may be slow, and this is something that I get really hung up on, is slow progress is progress, and I just want things to go fast all the time. Like, that is very much, I wouldn't say it's like a toxic trait, but in some situations it's not the best way to handle things. I just like things to go fast, and slow progress is progress, and that is something that I like have to remind myself of often. Clearly I see the results of slow progress every single day. I preach to all of my athletes in the gym, show up and do your 1%, right? In a world where everyone, me, likes instant results, instant gratification, it's not going to happen in the gym. It's not going to happen in your life. And even as I preach it, I need to take my own advice, and I'm like very aware of that. You have to show up, and you have to do your 1% every single fucking day. And when you do your 1% every day, that's eventually like gonna add up for you. And there are just some days where I'm just like, why even do the fucking 1%? What's the point in doing the 1% when the 100% is 5 years down the road? But if you don't do your 1%, then your 100% is going to be 10 years down the road. And that's definitely not something I want. So, I'm just trying to like, listen, I've gotten really good at fucking chilling. I've gotten so good at fucking chilling. Like chilling out. And I think like being a business owner has allowed me to do that much more. I'm like very thankful for that. But yeah, that doesn't mean that I still don't have feelings of like wanting things to like be done or go fast, especially when sitting with these like super uncomfortable, not great feelings. Again, I think, I don't know, I think like if I were having these feelings like 1 year ago, based on like where I was at in my life, I probably would have crumbled a lot easier, because my anxiety was a lot higher a year ago. I think 5 years ago, I probably couldn't have even had this conversation. So, I don't know. I just really wanted to just like talk about therapy in general a little bit, just because like I think even I had the notion that, oh my God, I'm healed. I'll never have to fucking do therapy again in my whole life. And that's just like not the case. And because life is like ever evolving and like changing, and I think therapy just kind of like helps complement those changes. And I like seeing my therapist perspective and point of view on issues, obviously because she's a licensed professional, but because she's like extremely unbiased on my situations. And I can very much take accountability on things whenever I've fucked up or I've done something wrong, or maybe I've like projected a feeling onto someone that didn't belong to them. It was me internalizing something. And I think I was kind of at that point where I'm just like, I am like very much ready to like, for you to tell me if there's something that like I am missing, or if I'm like telling myself stories that aren't true, and stuff like that. And right, because we are our own worst enemy when it comes to that. And I think, you know, one of those main reasons that I went, and that I even told her, and that we didn't even like very much grazed over, on top of like the sad feelings that I was having, I was just like, I talked about it a lot, but just like really kind of struggling with like, who is Keisha to succeed in this world? Who is Keisha to own 2 businesses? And who is Keisha to have free time? And who is Keisha to not work in corporate America? And I'm like, what type of stories am I telling myself in those areas? And she's like, well, you have everybody from your childhood in your head telling you those stories. She was like, get them out of your fucking head. And it's literally not just that simple, right? But also, it's just like, if you can break that down and just be like, who actually is telling you in your head? What person is in your head? Like word vomiting those messages to you that were projections of their own feelings of low self-worth and low self-esteem. So I think that's where the excuse me, that's where the who is Keisha to succeed type of thing comes from. And I'm like trying to like work through that, because all that does is creates a fucking headache for me, because then I just start questioning myself, and I'm not really in a position to like question myself right now. So I don't know, I just very much always appreciate the outlook of a therapist, specifically my therapist. Shout out to Selena, she's the OG. But yeah, I don't know, it's just, I think like that, again, another one of like the main messages of therapy is just like, it's ever evolving. Like I said, it's stays with you in your life throughout all of your seasons. And like, I understand that therapy can be like really scary for people who are maybe unsure if they want to deal with their emotions or unravel something that's like deep. Like, I get that, because I was that person for a long time, and even though I was actively in therapy, I was clearly still scared of things that she was going to tell me. And I just, again, I think that's like part of life. We're not perfect. Like, you know, I wouldn't say I like cut my therapist off because she was doing the right thing. I wasn't doing the right thing. But I think on the basis of like which I left her by, is interesting to just kind of like, for me to take accountability, just to be like, you know, you were just telling me things that I didn't want to hear, that interfered with what I was doing in my life in that moment, and I did not want to do it. And, you know, I think that's where you get that introspection and you get that growth, where it's just like, literally a year ago, I was in a completely fucking different place than what I am now. And next year, I hope to be in a completely different place than I am right now. And I have therapy just to like thank for that. So I don't know, just like, if you're ever like scared of therapy, I get that. It's not fun to unwrap and unravel your shit, especially if it's tied up in the people that you love, aka your family. But I think if you're like ready to take that leap, it's not a pretty journey. It is not pretty or fun at all. But it's worth it. It's so worth it. I literally cannot imagine where I would be in life without therapy. I have a good vision of where I think I would be, and I very much think that would be in a corporate America job, drinking my life away, continuing to have surface level conversations, continuing to like mask who I am, continuing to have so much anxiety that like I couldn't even cope and do daily functions, daily activities. That's scarier to me. That life, right? You have to choose a hard. You have to choose your hard, and you have to choose your scary thing, right? And for some people, going to therapy, being truthful, and like facing your shit head on is scarier than staying the exact same person for 30, 40, 50, 60 years. And again, that is fine. Who am I to judge? I am no one to judge your life at all, because my life is clearly a fucking shit show. And I think it is very individual and very subjective to the person itself. But for me, staying unhealed, staying complacent, staying stuck, those things are much scarier to me than developing emotional maturity, taking accountability for shit in your life, even when you're the one that has fucked shit up. Me, right? Like 100%. I can take full accountability of the shit that I fucked up in my life. Just like taking those emotional risk to be a better person and just align more with my authentic self, knowing that I don't have a mask on. I've said it before, but right, like I'm the same person publicly that I am privately. And maybe 10 years ago me, I couldn't have said that. I definitely could not have said that. But I think like as I have grown, like the person that I'm talking to you today is the same fucking person that I am in this house with my kids, that I am with my friends, that I am with whoever. And I think it also takes courage to not be liked, in a sense of, if you were to ever start a therapy journey, you're probably going to uncover some shit that you like don't like about yourself, you don't like about someone else, and you have to like really have the courage to like not be liked by everyone. And that's fucking scary. Like, that is fucking scary to think that like someone in your life could very much be unknowingly the root cause of a lot of pain. And like once you start to deal with it, you're like, oh shit, like now you might have a different viewpoint on this person, or you may take a step back, or however you choose to like deal. Like, that's uncomfortable. That is not easy. And like, I don't ever want to make light of that. Like, therapy's not fucking easy, especially if you're there to like fucking change and fucking do the work. It's not fucking easy to face those fucking inner demons at all. It is not easy, because it's just like once you become aware, you can't become unaware. You become very, very, very aware. And I think that was a big one for me, is to just kind of like have the courage to not be liked. Like, because when you have the courage to not be liked, you align with people who are like more your people. And I mean, that goes for everybody. And I think we just get so wrapped up, right, in just like caring what people think and caring about what people think will in certain situations, or we have to be liked by everybody. And like, life gets so much easier when you just don't give a fuck. Like, so much easier. That transition, not easy, but when you're on the other side, it's much nicer. So again, I don't know, I just I think it's important to talk about the continuation of therapy and why I'm here and how I got there. And I'm feeling better, like, definitely. Like I said, I fully anticipated walking in, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna cry for this whole hour, and I maybe got teary-eyed once. And again, I'm a very emotional person, so for me to kind of catch her up on everything and like not cry, I was just like, okay, this is nice, you know. But I also think, like I said, I have been dealing with things. I've not been like just brushing them aside. I've been actively dealing with my shit. I just needed a little extra help. and that's why I went back to therapy. So I'm gonna be going monthly. So I am happy to see kind of how my life evolves again for the better with therapeutic help, because I think it's that insight and that viewpoint is much needed in my life right now. So, okay. I think I'm done rambling about therapy for today. So, I have 2 more episodes. I hope to release at the end of April or May, or beginning of May. Again, kind of not been forcing the topics, just kind of like letting shit flow. So, we shall see. Hopefully not much longer than you hear it though. So, alright, enjoy your day. I love you, bye.